Around 570 AD, the king of Yemen, Abraha, was an evil man. He possessed an immense army, and his country was insurmountably powerful. He was so rich that he could do whatever he wished with his wealth. All of Arabia feared him, and no one could stand against him. The Prophet Muhammad was born around that time, in the time of pilgrimage. The people of Yemen had to go to Mecca and perform Hajj around the Kaaba. Abraha felt insulted by this. He wanted people from far and wide to instead come to Yemen. He had seen how Hajj brings respect and riches to Quraysh, who settled in Mecca. He wanted all of people to turn to Yemen, that then he could gain more wealth and respect.
"Servants, build me a grand palace," he declared. Architects lined up before the king, awaiting building instructions and design. The palace was a pleasure to the eye, full of gems, colored glass, domes and curves. People would come and do Hajj here. Yemen would flourish. However, when the doors of this palace were opened, few visitors come. "This is an outrage! How can he still be going to that rundown place when I have jewels, riches, diamonds, those remarkable palace walls?" The king had no other option but to declare war on Mecca. He'd crush that cube, non-elaborate building. His generals were to train a mighty army of skilled infantry, archers, and war elephants. The soldiers instructed the elephants to cut the Kaaba apart, as they were able to destroy buildings 3 times that size. Yemen's army was at its full strength, and took for north towards Mecca. People from all over the Arabian Peninsula heard the news. They attempted to stand, but when the battle began, the Arabian army stood no chance against those powerful war elephants. Fear filled the men's hearts, and the remaining soldiers fled. To make matters worse, 200 camels were seized from the Quraysh. Later, Abraham sent a messenger to Quraysh's leader and demanded to meet him. Abdul Muttalib, who was the grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad, was the appointed leader of Mecca at the time. He was to meet Abraha. When the king saw him, he felt a respectful, honorable presence about Abdul Muttalib. "I don't want to kill people. I have only come to demolish the camp. If you didn't stand against us, we will not harm." Abdul Muttalib simply replied, "Return me my camels." Hearing this, Abraha was surprised. "I thought that you were a respectful man. Don't you care about the Kaaba?" he said sarcastically. "It is my obligation to protect what I own. The Kaaba is Allah's house, and He will protect it." Abdul Muttalib replied simply. Abraha laughed. "We'll see how He'll protect his house." He ordered his soldiers to return the camels. With his livestock returned, Abdul Muttalib knew that they didn't have the strength to fight Yemen's mighty army. They didn't even have an infantry. Abdul Muttalib ordered his people to leave Mecca and head towards the mountains bordering the city. After evacuating, the citizens watched as Abraha's army approached the camp. They started to pray, "O Almighty Lord of Camelot, Save your house! Even though idols filled the area around the Kaaba, they were ignored and people only prayed to one God in desperate times. The Yemen army got closer and closer. The ground shook as elephants' feet grappled the floor, edging closer. Suddenly, as the army approached the Kaaba, all the elephants stopped. No matter how much the soldiers tried to keep them moving, they wouldn't obey. They would go easily to all other directions but not forward. The Yemeni soldiers were puzzled. What's wrong with the beasts? They aren't moving. They informed the king, who was sitting in his comfortable room on the back of the largest, the strongest of the elephants. Whip them harder! If they don't respond, bring horses to push them forward. Horses aren't responding, my lord, the soldier cried out. What will we do? Abraha struck with pain and anger. Order those men with their axes and hammers. Tell them to demolish this building, he said. Chaos slipped from across the army, but this didn't stop them from finishing what they've come for. Oh my God, I'm coming. Oh, Allah help us. People of Quraysh cried as they watched soldiers running toward the Kaaba with their weapons. As they were making dua, suddenly, out of the blue, a massive cloud formed in the sky. It was getting close. Civilians and soldiers alike pointed at it. It just looks like a large flock of birds. What's so good about that? Someone said carelessly. Look closer. Another villager nudged. These birds carry flames in their bills and feet. People screamed and watched as birds dropped pebbles on the Yemeni army. No one was left alive. Elephants took off in different directions, free from their masters. Villagers flocked back down to the city in victory. Thank you, Allah, Kaaba saved. A mighty Lord has secured his house and destroyed its enemy. Allahu Akbar, God is great! They rushed to see what has happened to Abraha and his army. Soldiers and people were torn and turned to pieces. Soon, the news spread all over Arabia. Abraha and his army had become what would give fear to everyone who sought to attack the land blessed by the Creator. It was a holy land, protected by the grace and strength of Allah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول